Hey there, Susie here. If you work one-on-one with clients, it's easy to think that your income is capped by the number of hours you can work. But believe me, it doesn't have to be like that. When I first started, I believed the same thing, that my revenue would hit a ceiling once my hours were maxed out. But I explored new strategies and I realized my profit didn't need to be tied to the clock. That's exactly what I want to share with you at the Profitable Business Workshop. I'll show you how to grow your business and your income with the products and services that will help you get your money goals, and how to help more clients without burning out or feeling like your income is capped by time. Grab your free seat at profitablebusinessworkshop.com now. That's profitablebusinessworkshop.com, and I'll see you there. Most small business owners think that the more products or services they offer, the more successful they'll be, the more revenue they'll bring in. But what if I told you that holding on to the wrong product could actually be draining your time, your energy, your profit, even without you realizing it? I've been there. I've held on to products and services for way too long, convinced that one day they'd take off, only to realize that they were costing me way more than they were bringing in. So today we're going to cover 7 signs that it's time to let go of a product or service that's secretly holding you back. And we'll talk about what to do instead so that your offers actually work together and create a smooth path for your ideal clients to follow. Here we go. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Her Business Podcast. I'm Susie, CEO at Her Business, and I am your host. Now, I've worked with thousands of women business owners over my time in business, and I've had this same thought process come up time and time again, and that is, the more products I have, the more money I'll make. And that has not been true for me. And if you've ever struggled with deciding, do I keep this product, do I not keep it, or you're just not sure what products you should have in your product mix, then this episode is for you. I'm going to take you through 7 signs that your product or service might not be serving you. And for each sign, I'm going to ask you some questions. So by the end of the episode, you're going to have gone through an audit of sorts for that particular product that you're questioning. So ready to see if your product or service passes the test? Here we go. So for 20 years, at Her Business, we offered one-on-one mentoring to women who were just getting started with their businesses or women who wanted to scale. And I've always been a huge believer in mentoring. It's played a key role in my own success. And I really believe that all of us at every stage of business should have a mentor as part of our business development. Now, at first, our mentoring model worked really well. We would provide 4 sessions of mentoring to help women move their businesses forward. But then demand started increasing for that service and we became completely booked out. We had to bring on more mentors. And suddenly my focus shifted. I wasn't really focused on mentoring and supporting women business owners. I started to instead feel responsible for filling the mentors' calendars and bringing on more mentors and keeping the program running and making sure everyone was happy. And really it became too much. It began to feel like a burden and the model just was not scalable. Now, there was nowhere else to take it unless we could figure out how to add more hours in the day or more mentors, so we cut it. Now, instead, we decided to offer mentoring only inside of our Her Business Boardroom program, which is our highest level mastermind. And you know what? The women in that program get better results now because 1, they're working with their mentor for a whole year, but they're also not just getting mentoring, they're getting finance strategy, leadership training, opportunities to work out problems with other women business owners who understand what it's like to operate a business at that level. And by switching to that model, we are providing better quality mentoring and results to those clients, and we've freed up a whole lot of time and energy and stress that went into the one-on-one mentoring session model that we had, and that energy can be focused somewhere else. So that is what happens when you're willing to let go of what isn't working and to create the space for something better and even more profitable for yourself. So let's get into the first sign that it's time to let go of a product or service. So let's see if your product or service passes this test. Now, I'm saying product and service, but I'm just going to refer to it as product. And please know that I'm talking about services as well. It'll just save me having to say products and services every time. So this advice applies to both. So if you've been debating whether to let go of a product, try something with me quickly. If you're listening to this at home or somewhere where you can close your eyes, then go ahead and close your eyes. But obviously, if you're behind the wheel or you're out on a run, don't close your eyes. But take time to think about this scenario. So imagine that when you open your eyes, that product is already gone. No more promoting it, no more stressing out about it, no more dealing with the clients it brings in, no more, having to write sales emails or social posts for that product again, never having to schedule in that one more difficult client. So how do you feel? Now, if the first feeling that hits you is relief, then you've got your answer. Now, if you find yourself thinking, oh, I'd miss that product, that you actually enjoy the work you do, you love those customers, then you've got a green flag. Now, I've had products that technically made money, but often they felt like a chore to sell and deliver, or they took up too many resources or time. And when I made the decision to cut them, it actually felt like a weight had been lifted. So if that product you're thinking about is built around things that you dread doing, you're setting yourself up for burnout. The best businesses are built around what you love, what flows for you naturally, what you're able to scale. So ask yourself, do I enjoy selling this product? Do I look forward to delivering this to my clients? Would I still offer this product a year from now if money wasn't a factor? Because if the answer is no, you might already know what you need to do. So if the answer was yes to sign 1, let's move on and see if your product passes the second test. Is your product selling but not scaling? Now, this is a sneaky one because the product might technically make money, but it could be maxed out. So take my one-on-one mentoring, for example. We had solid demand for that program. We had to stop marketing it many times because we were full. Every time we tried to expand, we hit a ceiling. More clients meant more mentors, which meant more admin, more management, and more moving pieces. Less time doing the things that I actually loved. It wasn't scalable. So instead of continuing to pour more time into something that wouldn't grow beyond a certain point, we pivoted. We channeled our energy into the boardroom program where clients could get better results over a longer period of time and that we could have a business model that we could scale. So if your product is selling but won't scale without massive effort or resources, then it might be time to rethink it. And here are some questions to ask yourself to see if your product or service passes the second level of our test. And that is, could I double my customers without doubling my workload? Good question, right? Am I spending more time delivering this than growing my business? Is this a one-off sale, or does it naturally lead to something bigger, like them buying something else in your product suite? Is this product keeping you stuck in the weeds? Because if it is, it's time to step back and reassess. Let's go into round 3. It's like a quiz show. So a great product should be a two-way street. It gives as much as it takes. So is your product doing that? If it takes all your energy but only gives back a trickle of revenue, there's an imbalance there. I've seen women spend hours on products that are barely moving the needle in their business. So maybe that's your $20 a month membership that's requiring content creation that is constant and kind of overwhelming? Or is it a coaching package that is eating up your one-on-one time? Or is it a low-ticket product or service that's requiring a lot of time and money and effort and Facebook ads and all those things? So to pass this round, you want to ask yourself, does the product drain me or energize me? If I stop selling this today, would it actually impact my income? Is this the best use of my time, or is there a better way that I could serve my ideal clients and be happier? And if you've listened to this podcast before, you know that I'm all about doing what you love every day. That is our catchphrase at Her Business. I believe you should love your work, that you should want to spend your time in your business. Now, if you're realizing that you're not getting as much as you're giving, that can lead, as I said earlier, straight to burnout, also to resentment. And it's likely time to create something different for yourself, something that you enjoy more that also gives back to you. And while you may not be able to see the road to that right now, it's hard to come up with that other way unless you're willing to let go of something that's not working. So here's sign number 4. And this one might break some hearts. So far, you might have a product that you enjoy, is able to scale, doesn't require putting more in than you get out. But does that product naturally lead into your other offers? So a great product mix should feel like a smooth path that your ideal client can walk down, not a random collection of things. So at Her Business, our offers are designed to guide women through different stages of growth. So they might start with the Her Business Network at an entry level, or when they're just getting to know us, they get resources, training, a supportive community, a great network, an amazing network of peers. They get great value from that, and then as they grow and implement the strategies we teach, they're looking to take the next step. If she wants more intensive marketing knowledge, she might join our marketing mastermind. If she's looking to grow her business through personal development, she might attend one of our retreats or our Business Trailblazers hikes, where we really look at the woman behind the business, the full you, and how to fuel that person in every way. If she's looking for more individualized, smaller group, high-level strategy on finances plus some mentoring, then she might join our Her Business boardroom. Now, there's a clear sales journey there, depending on what she is looking for. Now, if your products do not connect, if they feel disjointed, or you don't have a natural pathway or next step for people, you're making it harder for people to buy from you. So this is where you really want to relook at your product service mix to see what's working, what's not. Can I do away with anything without impacting my bottom line too much, or bring in something that's going to really impact my life and my business and my happiness and my bottom line, so that I love my bank account as much as I love my business? So let's see if your product passes this level, this fourth level. Ask yourself, does my product lineup feel cohesive, or is it a bit random? Because I've just added on things over the years. What is my clear entry-level offer? What is it that I want people to buy first? And then what is the natural next step after that? And if your products don't flow together, you could be losing out on repeat buyers and a warm audience. All right, sign number 5. This one might ouch a little bit. It might be time to say bye to that product that you're keeping around only because you invested so much time in it. I had an exact conversation like this last week. You've put time, money, effort into a product or service. You've built the landing pages, you've designed the marketing, you've poured your heart into it, but it's just not working. Maybe the product isn't clicking with your audience. Maybe the audience simply doesn't have the money for it. But something's not right. And instead of letting go, you keep thinking, oh, but I've spent so much money on this. I just can't quit now. And I get it. I'm not a quitter, right? As much as it hurts, though, holding on to a bad product because of past effort is just throwing away energy that you could be putting into something new. I recently spoke with an incredible business owner who's been trying to get a certain subscription box off the ground. And this was something she's poured her heart into for more than 3 years, but for some reason, it's just not getting the sales that she wants. But her biggest reason for keeping it, what she said to me, is she's already invested too much time to quit. But the truth is, just because you've spent time or money or resources on something doesn't mean you should keep spending more. There's a very old song that says you want to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And it relates to playing cards, which we're not talking about today, but you want to know when to cut your losses. So my questions around this item is, if you were starting today, would you create that product again? Ask yourself, if this wasn't my product, would I still think it was a good idea? And also, if I let this go, what would I have more time to focus on that might be more profitable? So times change, your business changes, your ideal clients change, markets change. Just because you invested in a product that may have worked once, it doesn't mean you have to keep pouring into it. Sign number 6 is that you have to sell too hard to get customers. Some products are just hard work, right? They require constant convincing, the leads are lukewarm at best, and it feels like you're pulling teeth just to make one sale. That is never a good sign. Your best products should have a level of demand already built in the marketplace. That means that they are positioned correctly, the messaging is right, and you should be able to sell them without exhausting yourself or feel like you're always saying, buy my thing, buy my thing. If you are constantly chasing sales, it might be time to either reposition your offer or cut it altogether. Now, if you think you have a positioning problem rather than a product problem, make sure you check out one of our very recent episodes of the Content Sells podcast, which is a sister podcast to this one. That episode is called How to Create an Offer That Sells, and it's the revised edition of that episode. and it was just released a few weeks ago from this podcast. In that episode, my co-host Michelle Falzon and I covered everything you need to know to craft a great offer, all 7 elements of a compelling offer. Because sometimes things aren't selling because they're just not being positioned right. The messaging isn't right. So definitely check out that episode, and I'll put a link to it also in our show notes. So let's stay on this point for a minute. Ask yourself these questions. Am I forcing this product on my audience and it's really not working? Do people instantly see the value, or do I have to work too hard to even explain what it is? Could I replace this product with something that sells far more easily? And by that, it could be that it's just easier to explain, or that you're more heart connected to it, but it just sells easier. All right, we are already on the 7th sign that it might be time to let go of a product holding you back. If your product has held up to the test so far, all the questions I've asked you, there's only one more benchmark to pass. If you have a product that you love, but it doesn't fit your business model. So sometimes you have a brilliant product idea. I have them all the time. You love it, it's exciting, but it doesn't fit into your business or your product suite. It doesn't lead to your other offers. It's not aligned with your brand's direction. If a product doesn't fit into your strategy, it's probably better to set it aside than to try and force it into your product mix. So the final set of questions I'm going to ask you before I give you some next steps is, does this product fit in with my product suite? Does this product fulfill a need, a pain point, solve a problem on my ideal client's journey? Does this product naturally lead into a higher priced offer? Or is it this loner in my product mix? So just because you love the idea of a product doesn't mean it's right for your business. Your product should work in unison, and each product should be a natural part of your buyer's path. So how did you go on this quiz show? Did you pass my test? Did your product make it through all 7 signs? I would love to know in the comments on our social posts, which I've linked to in the show notes below. I'm going to do a couple of posts where I actually want to hear from you, and that's a great place for me to give me your thoughts on this, and also to get some support from me if you have questions. Now, there are 2 major bits to talk about. Excuse me, if your product didn't pass. Firstly, it's okay to have a hard time letting go. I get it. I have held onto things way too long. I've gotten better at it as years have gone on, and I've gotten really clear on what I want to be offering and what gives me joy and what puts money in the bank, and those things are equally important. Even when a product clearly isn't working, it can be a struggle to cut things off. I get that because you've invested so much, whether it be time, money, effort, your team's time. It takes a lot to create a product or service and bring that to market, and it can feel like if you walk away, that all goes to waste and it just vanishes. But we have to reframe this idea. It wasn't a waste of anything. That product likely taught you so much about not just you and your business, but about your buyer, about what your ideal client really wants. I've also seen that letting go of a product can sometimes make us feel like we've failed, right? We don't want to admit that something didn't work. And so often, as women business owners, we tie our products and services and the success of them to our worth and our identity. If something doesn't work, it can feel like we've failed. Now, cutting a product is not a failure for your business, and it's definitely not a personal failure. It is a strategy. It is a smart strategy to know that I'm going to do more of what works and less of what doesn't work. This is a strategy that the biggest, most successful businesses have used. And I want to give you some examples that you might remember. I don't know if you remember in 2013, 2014, when Google tried to push out Google Glass. Maybe you don't, but it was a really big bust. It was essentially glasses that could act as a computer screen. Now, Google thought it would be the next thing. I remember being at a conference in Austin where they released it, and there were a few people walking around with their Google glasses. But it never really went to market well. People just didn't buy. Now, did Google say, oh my God, we're a failure? What will people think? It just didn't work when it went to market. So they move on to something else. Or there was a product in the United States called New Coke. This was back in the 80s. Coke had conducted tests that showed their consumers would prefer a sweeter version of their drink, if that's even possible. But when they went to market, most people hated it. They went back to the classic version. And all it did was teach them about their audience. You know, being Coke, it was probably a very expensive lesson. But you know what? You move on. I'm going to give you one that's kind of a little gross, I think. But in 2007, Cheetos, which is a type of flavored chip in America, they came out with a Cheetos-flavored lip balm. How gross is that? And you can guess, right, how that one went to market. I don't know how that one got past the legals and all the people who had to vote on that. But I'm giving you this example to say even the biggest brands put things out there that the customer doesn't want. So if we as small business owners put something out there that the customer doesn't want, so what? Move on to the next thing. What I'm trying to say is the biggest, most successful brands out there have all had products that didn't work. They didn't fit in with their product suite. They didn't hit the right note with their audience, and that's okay. And no matter how much time or effort or money you've put into that product, it's okay to let it go if it's not working for you. So if you've come to the decision that the product's time has come to an end, based on our conversation today, how do you actually phase it out without losing trust or disappointing your customers? Well, you want to announce the change, especially if there's people sort of in a buying cycle or they're in a delivery cycle. But make sure you put a positive spin on it, right? That change is an existing shift for your business. It's probably a new opportunity for them. You can also use it as an opportunity to include some scarcity. So, hey, this is the last time we're offering this, or we're running out this line of products or services. And then you want to lead those clients to an alternative, something that makes sense in your business, that makes the most sense for them, that's going to stand the test of time for you, and that you can scale in the long run. Likely, this alternative is going to offer them more value. It's going to be a better fit for them because they'll be sort of flocking to you for it. Just don't take it personally. Like, this is business. Yes, we put our heart and soul into it, especially as small business owners who can feel very vulnerable about these things. But my goal for you is to create a beautiful product suite that really helps your business. It's the exact reason why we run a workshop called the Profitable Business Workshop, where we work through your product suite and look at what are you selling, at what price, in what quantities, and what's working and what's not working. So I'll tell you more about that before we close out today. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I would love to know if you found this helpful. If you decided that you might need to let go of a product or service, let me know what you're cutting and why you decided to make that change. You can leave a comment over on our Her Business social media accounts, and specifically on Instagram, we're at Her Business. That's a great place to direct message me because I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you decided. The other thing I'm going to ask you is if you would be willing to leave a rating or review of this episode, either on Apple Podcasts, or you can leave it as a comment where you see this show promoted. You can send me a direct message, whatever it is. I would love to know. We recently did an interview with one of our members. She's a social media marketing expert. Her name is Erica McInerney. And the episode was called Stop Broadcasting, Start Interacting, Social Media Tips for Small Businesses. And one of our members, her name is Veronique, and she has a business called Unique Tenant Consult. She said, listening to this episode was like a breath of fresh air. Susie and Erica, thank you for clearing up so many misconceptions I had about social media and for stressing the power of an engagement strategy. That is a great episode. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a link to that episode in the show notes for this episode as well so that you can check it out. And if you want to work a little closer with me, if you want to be part of our incredible Her Business network, then I'm going to put a link in our show notes for you to join the wait list. Our doors aren't open right now, but you can join the wait list. And I'll also give you details about the Profitable Business Workshop and the next one that's coming up as well. So thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to hearing how you implement what you learnt here today. And I invite you to join me next time right here on the podcast for more inspiring stories and tips and strategies for your business. And I love doing this show for you. As I mentioned, if you would like more details on some of the things we've covered here today, I'm going to be putting those in our show notes. And our show notes will be at herbusiness.com/297. You'll find a summary of today's episode and links to the other resources we've mentioned. So thank you for being here. Join me next time right here on the Her Business podcast. Bye for now.